Doing so with players in and out of the lineup makes it that much more difficult. Klay Thompson, we all know what's going on with him. He scored 13 of the Warriors' first 11 points in the game, and he goes down awkwardly under 11 minutes in the fourth. Appeared to be a hamstring injury. The Raptors outscored the Warriors 13-11 from that time, but of course, obviously went on to win. So we await the MRI results. Klay says he will play, but will he actually be able to? The injured Dubs, let me just say this right now. You see KD, you see Klay, Boogie, and everybody right there. We didn't even have Steph on there, who had some dehydration issues. The Warriors training staff, they're working overtime during the finals. They're earning every penny, and they probably are due for a raise. Jet, what is your take on all the injuries and the adjustments that Steve Kerr and the coaching staff has made?
Well, ring the alarm. These boys are injured. They are hurt. And that is what I'm going to have to tell you right now is hurt or injured. Because if you're hurt, you can go. If you're injured, you got to sit this one out. And so if you look at Klay Thompson and his injury, he's probably hurting a little bit. I don't think from the likes of looking at it and being in that position as a shooter and having that injury, it's probably a slight pull, which means he can gauge his play and go out. And in transition, he doesn't have to overexert himself and hit that fourth gear, right? He can go to 2 or 3rd gear and still catch and shoot and spot up and be effective. The problem comes on the defensive end where he's reactionary and having to move and cut people off and turn and push off of that leg, right? Guarding Kawhi Leonard, who we know is a tough cover. So it'll be tough for Klay, but he's a warrior. Hate to use that term, and he will fight through it, and hopefully we'll see him out there. But if not, this is a great time for Kerr to use his mantra, strength in numbers, and Curry. This could be a defining moment in his legacy. Now you know Durant, you know Klay Thompson. What you going to do? Are you going to step up and give us one of those Curry-like performances? I think he'll be up for the task. But another great sign for them is the performance of Boogie Cousins. He can only get better. I mean, first game, limited minutes, wasn't very effective, but last game he showed up ready to play.
He definitely showed up. But just real quick, do you think Klay's injury, does that have any effect on whether KD comes back sooner?
You know, I think KD in his mind has a timetable, and I had that same injury. I was out a month, but I was 40 years old. KD's a lot younger. I think he's eyeing game 3 if he can get some practice time. No later than game 4 if he plans coming back at all. So hopefully we'll see him here in the next 2 games.
Now, the Warriors outscored the Raptors 18-0 to start the third. It was a part of a 20-0 run that began late in the second quarter, and they made history in the process. That run was the longest in finals history since the merger over 40 years ago. Now, part of that 20-0 run began late in the second quarter. Now, that is just crazy. So, looking at what the Warriors were able to do, it was very demoralizing to the Raptors. But how impressed were you? And we were just talking about this, the third quarter adjustments they always seem to make at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, for them, what they've done over this course of their run, right, this dynasty that they've created, third quarters have been epic. They come out and they dominate you. Why? Because they get the answers to the test in the first 2 quarters. They go in the locker room, Professor Kerr draws it up and says, this is what they're doing to you. And then they come out and fill out the rest of their quiz, and they blow you out, especially in the third quarter. I mean, if you look at it in this series, they're averaging 32 points a game in the third. Now, game 1, Toronto was able to put up 29, so they held their ground. But in game 2, they were wiped out of the building. That 18-0 run put the Raptors to sleep. They fought back valiantly in the fourth, but that third quarter really did them in.
You mentioned Professor Kerr. We heard from him earlier today.
Well, that's what it takes. You need your bench no matter what, but in particular when you've got a lot of injuries. So we'll just continue to go to those guys and trust them, and they've proven that they can really help us. Bogut hadn't played in the first game in 3 quarters, so what he did was fantastic out there. Gave us a little different look with that lob threat. So we'll see what we've got and tee it up for game 3.
We always hear about the others. You mentioned Boogie Cousins. You saw Quinn Cook put up numbers. Andrew Bogut, the awesome insurance policy coming over from Australia. And, of course, Andre Iguodala, your fellow Wildcat. Looking at these gentlemen, the others, who are you most impressed with in game 2?
I'm impressed with Cousins. I mean, being out as long as he was with injury, being able to almost put up a triple-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. He was so effective. Not only that, but his presence on the defensive end. He had active hands. He bothered Marc Gasol as well.
Boogie Cousins in the second half led the team in assists. It was so impressive watching him out there play. And not really expected. People thought that he was going to be done for the season. He's been able to come back in the finals, never been on the stage, his third playoff game. And he still was able to come in and do work, which is unheard of in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, he just adds another dynamic to the Warriors' offensive attack because in the post, he's a threat, but he's also a threat to facilitate. And as you know, he's one of the best passing bigs we have, he and Jokic in Denver.
No doubt about it. So we talked about Denver. We're talking about the Warriors. Their offense was awesome as far as everything that they were able to do. We mentioned Quinn Cook. We talked about the others. Boogie could all get it done. Yeah.
They can get it done. I mean, Iguodala, McKinney, Cook, Livingston, without Klay in game 3, we'll have to see what they can do. But right here, in transition, early post up, great seal, cutting from the weak side. All the attention's on Steph Curry. Klay, with Kawhi guarding him, gets an easy slip to the basket. Here we are in a pick and roll action. Ball goes to Klay. Again, pinch post. Cousins in operating logo ISO situation. Great give and go to Klay Thompson for another easy basket. Here we are in a semi-transition. Goes to Draymond up top. Curry running off a pin down game from Bogut. 2 on the ball. Bogut does what he does best, slips to the rim, and he can finish. He's not very athletic, but he can finish with the best of them.
Baylor, Kobe, Iverson, LeBron, Hakeem, the logo, Shaq, Jordan, Kawhi. All of them have had 12 30-point games in a playoff run, but who is going to show up for the Raptors? We discuss. Next on the other side, it's Game Time, brought to you by YouTube TV.
Good on you for never missing a moment. Because when it comes to them,